There are two things that we learn from our gospel reading this evening in the story of the road to Emmaus. One of those things is this. Jesus, as he meets these two people, as he meets Cleopas and his other follower that was with Cleopas, these two friends, Jesus isn't going to somebody that we normally think he might go to. These two are followers of Jesus. They're not part of the disciples, the 12, the inner circle, the ones that we always look to having these adventures and stories with Jesus. These are just two normal followers of Jesus. They're not part of the inner circle. They're not part of the folks that we would normally expect. And that's a good reminder to us, because Cleopas and his fellow follower, they were alone together with each other, just as many of us are alone, or with our loved ones or our immediate family members. In this time, it's helpful for us to remember that you don't have to be one of the 12. You don't have to be one of the chosen disciples of Jesus in order for Jesus to come there and be in the midst with you. Jesus is in the midst of these two, these other followers. And Jesus is in the midst with all of us as well. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how holy you think you are or how holy you don't think you are. Jesus will be there. That leads to the other lesson that we learn from this gospel reading. And that's this, that we need to keep our eyes and ears open. Cleopas and his fellow follower didn't recognize Jesus at first. It took them a while. They heard all of these things, and yet they still didn't recognize him. But it was there in the breaking of the bread that they finally see Jesus. It's only because they kept their eyes open, because they were willing to see what was in front of them, that they were able to recognize Jesus. So we too need to keep our eyes and ears open, because Jesus is there in the midst with us, but we won't recognize that. We won't recognize him unless we're paying attention, unless we're keeping our eyes and ears open to see and to hear him. So continue in these thoughts. Continue to keep your eyes open, to pay attention, and to see the presence of God, to see Jesus there in the midst of you. Because it doesn't matter who you are or how you feel about how holy you are. Jesus is there in the midst of you, if only you will pay attention and see.